Hello everyone, my name is Jen and welcome to the Book Refuge. Hi everybody, welcome to another weekly wrap up. So I'm going to do my best to keep this one a bit more succinct than normal, mostly because I just haven't been feeling super well this week, and I'm feeling a little bit better today, but filming in front of my lights is just like, I mean, you can probably tell I'm like squinting a lot because I've had some headaches off and on, and filming in front of my lights makes it a bit difficult. But I'm excited to talk about some of the books that I read this last week, and if I didn't film and get behind a week, then I'll feel even worse, so we're just gonna push through it. But I do only have 6 things to talk about this week, and one DNF on top of that. And then I actually have a little unboxing to do at the end. I'll save it for the end so that those of you who don't care about unboxings don't have to watch. But yeah, we're gonna go ahead and dive in and make our way through it today. So hope you guys had a great Valentine's weekend, whether you were with your honey or you were treating yourself a good time. I'm filming this later on a Saturday than I normally do because one of my best girlfriends, her husband was actually out of town this weekend. So we went out for sushi dinner last night and had a sleepover. And then today we went and had coffee and did a little shopping with one of our friends. So I just decided to not worry about it and enjoy. And I was like, I don't have a super long video to film today, so I can just enjoy the morning, which is what I did. Before we hop into the books, I do have a new patron to welcome to the channel. This is Destiny S. So welcome Destiny to Patreon. I appreciate you so much. You make my world go round. Let's just say it. It's absolutely true. So let's get into the books to talk about. So first up, I actually had a reread, and this was Counted by Noelle Adams. And I believe Counted is free right now. I think it's still free. Either way, there'll be a link to it in the description. There'll be a link to all these books that I'm talking about. And this was one of my books that I read for Noelle this month. I had actually read this one when it came out. This one just came out in 2024. So this was a reread for me. And this one is very interesting. So Noelle says in the beginning of this that this book was actually inspired by a book called The Blue Castle by Ellen Montgomery, I believe, who's the same author of Anne of Green Gables. Yeah, I think so. But anyway, this is about our hero, Jude, who has been told he has 3 months to live. His mother had died of a brain tumor, and now it appears that he has one as well, which is wild. But yes, he has that as well. And so he kind of has this bucket list of things that he wants to do before he dies, things that he promised his mother that he would do. And one of them was to get married. And so Jude proposes to Eve, who is actually their families were friends, and he, I think, is 5 years older than her, and he's a writer, and she is, I can't remember what she's going to school for, but she is in graduate school at that time. And basically he asks her to marry him, and he will leave her a lot of his money and pass that on to her. And he wants to, as he said, fulfill his mother's bucket list, which is to get married. And he was going to travel a lot. And he's like, you can do all of those things with me. And because she's not deeply in love with him, or in fact, she never really has thought about him that much, he's just an older family friend to her, she agrees. And like most Noelle Adams, they do agree to have a full marriage, which means she's like, well, why wouldn't we have sex? You should enjoy sex your last 3 months. And she's like, I enjoy sex. Let's do it. And so, they're now falling deeply for each other. And this is a romance, so I promise he lives. We find out what's going on. And one of the things that really touched me this time around, especially because of the headaches and migraines I've been having, is that with this tumor that Jude has, he will get these gut-wrenching migraines, right, where he will be nauseous, he'll throw up, he won't be able to move for days. And so there's a lot of caretaking of migraines that happens in here, and Eve is taking care of him, and that wasn't like a part of their deal, but to her, she's like, well, I married you, I'm your wife, and even though, you know, this isn't a normal marriage where we would hope we'd be healthy, like, I knew you were sick, and I still agreed to do this. And so there's these really beautiful moments of caretaking, like, just as simple as, like, she will massage his like temples for him and make sure he takes his medicine, as well as he's taking her to these places to travel, places she never would have gone to if not for him. And, you know, eventually they're going to get to this place where she's like, I wasn't supposed to fall in love with you, and now I kind of want you to try to fight this because I want more time with you. So it's very beautiful. If you like a bit more of a bittersweet story, it definitely is this. But again, they will have an HEA. You'll figure out what's going on in the book. But it's very beautiful. And I believe, too, I haven't read this one yet, but Noelle actually has, like, the gender swap version of this where there's a woman who only has so many months to live. And that one is called Listed. And I think that one has the, like, a bucket list thing as well. Eventually, I'll be reading that one as I make my way through her backlist and stuff. But really enjoyed revisiting this one, and I still cried multiple times. And again, if you're someone who has chronic migraines or you will get headaches that are really bad, like, I think this will touch you a lot, because the way that Noelle conveys the hopelessness you feel as both the person who has the migraine and someone who's caring for them, that hit like really hard. Like, it hit really hard because I was like, geez, that's like too real for me for sure. Okay, next up, there was Under an Endless Moon by A.L. Jackson, her newest release in the Moonlight Ridge. So here's the inside of this. I was lucky enough to be sent a box from her again, and I enjoyed this one so much. So this couple here is Otto and, shoot, sorry, my notes are over here. This is Otto and Raven. Okay. And Raven is the younger sister of River, the hero from book 1. And he was a bit like a parent to her as well, right? Like, part of the reason for the Sanctum, like, bike group that they are is to rescue kids from bad situations. And River and Raven came from one of those bad situations. And in fact, when she was young, she was actually kidnapped by some baddies that, like, I can't remember if it was a rival motorcycle club back in the day. So this was when the guys were like really actually running in a motorcycle club. And since then, it's kind of like, it's still a motorcycle club, right? Because the guys ride motorcycles together, but it's not like the 1%ers like doing crime or doing those things. This motorcycle group, is it Sanctus Sanctorum, I think is what they call themselves. I can't remember, but I'm pretty sure that's what it is. And like, that's the symbol of them right there. It's really cool. They help rescue women and children from domestic abuse situations. And each one of the men takes care of a different part of the operation, right? So that's also what happened in the first one, is that River's son that he has, so Raven's nephew, he's actually a little boy that when they were doing the rescue, his like the family of the little boy didn't make it, or so we thought, and River actually adopted him. So this biker group, I love them so much, and the work that they do is amazing. So, but in this case, like Raven, she like is in on it, like she knows what they do, obviously, but there appears to be someone who is stalking her, and so between the men in the biker group, they're taking turns watching Raven, and she actually owns the flower shop in town, which is really cool. Let me show you some of the pictures. There's one of the overlays. I love it. Where's the other one? Here's a sexy one. So yeah, this is a brother's best friend, a bit of Forbidden that way. There's also a secret past, of course, that Otto has, why he feels like he's not good enough for Raven. He was also there when she had been kidnapped and like help get her out of there, so he does know the type of trauma that she's dealing with. But yeah, I enjoy this series a lot. I really do. I stand by. I think that audiobook is the best way to consume these. This one was narrated by, let me check here. This one was Connor Craze and Desiree Ketchum. Great pairing. Connor Craze does really great growly guys for sure. But yeah, I love this. I really liked Raven as well. She has dealt with her trauma the best that she can. This line that is one of the quotes, "I will make it to the sunrise," is a tattoo that she has. I believe it's one of her like only tattoos that she has. Her brother is a tattoo artist. Because that's kind of her mantra when she has tough times is "I'll make it to the sunrise." And I thought that's really beautiful. So I know that A.L. Jackson's writing isn't for everyone. I always tell people she is very flowery. It is very poetic. That's why I like listening to it, because you just got to be kind of in the mood for that, right? And it is at times like that where some of her books have been tough for me. But when I look back to on the previous series where I had some issues with it, I also just didn't like the way that some of the tropes were used in those ones. And the suspense element felt very shoehorned in. Whereas because of the job that these men do, it's set up better for the suspense element. Sorry, I'm analyzing this a little more this time around, because truly I was about ready to give up on like reading after the end of that other series. Like I like the first 2 books in that series, but books 3 and 4, to me the suspense element didn't fit very well, and it was very obvious what was going on, and so it was very frustrating. Okay, so but when Amy asked me if I wanted, of course, because she is very kind, I've received these as gifts from the author, right? I wasn't going to say yes, because I was like, I'm going to pass on these, but I saw the cover of the book and I was like, well, okay, I'll take one more. And I'm really glad I tried again, because obviously I really love A.L. Jackson. I interviewed her on my channel for her fantasy book that just released, which, by the way, I really enjoyed that one. And if you like a book that isn't too heavy on the romance, that's a really great one too. Or not light on the romance, but light on the like steamy scenes. That one was really great. It's written more like new adult with not as much of that in there. But anyway, with the Sanctum Sanctorum and what they do, rescuing people from those situations, the suspense element is there. Like, it makes sense that this is, romantic suspense, because they're dealing with bad people. They're rescuing people from evil people. And it isn't like in one of those, like the dad is the bad guy. And it's just like, why did we make this one suspense? It didn't need it, blah, blah, blah. So anyway, that's my point. The Moonlight Ridge series has been great so far. She already has the books like named, which I think is fun. And one little, I wonder where, let me see if I can find it. This was a funny little thing, is she actually changed the title of one of the books, which I like, because she has the list of what all the books will be called. And it said At the Edge of Ecstasy was going to be the next one. And I have a feeling that I have a feeling that a book with ecstasy in the title maybe won't do well on Amazon or something. So that one's actually going to be At the Edge of Surrender. But I thought it was cool because when she had these printed, she had a different name picked. And I don't know. I love little nerdy stuff like that, right? Okay, enough there. Let's move along. I had a beta read of Drop 3 by Indy Valentine, which I'm happy I get to say this time. This is Cheyenne from That Tall Book Girl, which she isn't posting anymore on YouTube for now. She's focusing on writing. And I did beta read for her first again, and so I got Drop 3, which means I really won't talk too much about this, since it isn't even ready for people to have arcs for it yet, and who knows what will change, right? But I will say this, one of my favorite things about beta reading, and I don't do a ton of it, there's only like 3 different authors I've done it for so far, and 2 of them are friends of mine, or acquaintances through this, because beta reading isn't necessarily my strongest suit. But what I have loved with, for sure, the ones who are my friends, is seeing the leaps and bounds that their writing improves between books 1 and 2 and 2 and 3. I just love that. And I truly feel so much growth in Cheyenne, just in like how she writes her dialogue, how she does scene changes. She doesn't overwrite as much, but anyway, it's not my place to tell you all those details. I just want to say like that is really a joy to me to see, because again, I'm not here to be anyone's like technical person. Like sometimes when I'm reading a beta read, I'll notice things to pass them along, but I'm not her editor. I'm not here to scrutinize that. I just really am doing like content beta reads. Like, does this make sense? Does it move smoothly? And I love that. So just to tell you the tropes of what drop 3 are, because again, I don't know how much she's going to be sharing, so I don't want to say this, but the pre-order is available for it now. And since she's my friend, I am going to push it out. I'll have a link to the pre-order down below, because what's the fun of having a channel and not being able to support your friends, right? But this one is Navy and Bodhi. So Navy is the younger sister and the best friend of the heroine from book 1. And then Bodhi is a player on the team with, shoot, I forgot the hero's name from the first one, but anyway. And Bodhi, he has a lot of tough stuff in his past, and he has always kind of been into Navy. And at a time in the past, we know that these two had a near miss with each other and things didn't go well. It wasn't the right time for them to be together. And so there's more distance between them now than there used to be when they were younger. Or not even younger, but like there's always been this chemistry and things didn't work out. Bodhi's working through a lot of his issues. He's in therapy. I loved reading a hero who's in therapy. And basically this is a brother's best friend, baseball romance, hero dealing with some past trauma. And, you know, is he going to lose the girl, right? Because she's not going to wait around forever for him. If he's not interested, she's got to get going, right? And Navy, she is a Spitfire. She's just getting out of a long-term kind of semi-abusive relationship. You know, it's one of those where like they've been together a very long time and we see that relationship kind of falling apart in book 1. So we like know that's happening. So she's not necessarily looking for a fully like ready to commit type of relationship. But also, you know, now that she isn't with that loser, there's a, you know, more opportunity to open up. So anyway, I think I've said enough dancing around that. There'll be more to say about that when it gets closer to coming out. I'm really proud of her. Love seeing how her writing has improved. And I was really honored that she asked me to beta read again. And I wish her all the success with that. So I'll definitely bring it back up when that comes out to let you guys know. And I don't share my rating for books that I beta read. So I'll share it later on. Okay, next up there was It Had to Be a Duke by Vivian Lorette. Now, this was the second book that I did for Rake Appreciation Society winter session, which if I remember, I'll link the live show for that. That is Crystal and me and Crystal's book club that we do together. We do it quarterly and we each pick a book. I picked The Silent Duke by Jess Michaels, and she picked It Had to Be a Duke by Vivian Lorette. We did recently, just yesterday, I announced on Instagram what the 2 books are that we're doing for spring session, which won't be until May, it'll be March, April, May that we'll have that one. And we're going to be reading a Loretta Chase, the most recent one from her, because we want to support authors that currently have books coming out. And then I picked Kinley McGregor, A Pirate of Her Own. And that one is actually, if you've read Sherilyn Kenyon, like I did when you were young, that's Sherilyn Kenyon's historical pen name. So those are what we'll be reading for that. So I won't say much about this one. You can go watch the live if you want to know my full thoughts on it. But I had a good time reading this one. It wasn't my most favoriteest book I've ever read. It was really good if you like a slow burn. There's kind of a fake engagement. There's a bit of rom-com vibes going on. But there is Verity Hartley, and she gets herself in a sticky situation where she has said that she is engaged to a duke. And the duke that she has engaged herself with is actually trying to marry a woman named Miss Snow. And now Miss Snow's father hears that he's engaged to someone else. And the duke is like, well, that's news to me. And he needs to marry this heiress to help save his family. And now this girl has like gotten in his way. And so he charges into her small town to confront her and ends up being convinced by her to just wait a week and then they can break the betrothal and it'll be fine. And him being a man of honor is like, this cannot be a fake betrothal. So I'm asking you to marry me with the promise that you will break this betrothal at the end of the week. So anyway, there was some things that were really fun. Some of the things that I wish there'd been a bit more to the romance in here. But yeah, check out our live show. It's a little under an hour. It isn't super long. And we talk about both of those books. And consider joining the next book club with us. You have 3 months to grab those books and read them. If I remember, I'll link those down below as well. And yeah, it's a really fun time. I love getting to chat historical romance. And because one of my goals is to read more historical romance this year, that was it. It's satisfying to at least know that those 8 books that we do, because we do 2 every quarter, I'll get to those ones for sure. All right, next up we have the one that I DNF'd, so I don't have too much to say, but I'm a bit bummed. So this one is called Ravenous by Alana Rachel Parker, and I did DNF about at 75 pages. Now this book is 720 pages, so 75 pages was still about 15% in. With ARCs, I usually like to try to give them 20% before I would DNF, if I want to DNF, but I just knew this one wasn't going to jive with me. So this one was kind of pitched as a gender swapped Little Red Riding Hood. Like the heroine is actually a shifter who can turn into a wolf or has a wolf side, and our hero, though I don't really see him as a Little Red Riding Hood stand-in by any means, he's actually involved in kidnapping the heroine and is going to trade her and some other shifters into slavery basically to help out his kingdom. But it turns out him and the heroine actually had like a one-night stand together before she ends up getting caught. And yeah, there's a lot more to that than what I'm not explaining. But to me, I didn't understand, because it says that he captures her and is going to trade her for his kingdom. Like, we know that he's going to trade her to slavers. But the way that it's happening is that like all these shifters get taken and they are getting put into this like competition. They are forced to put on a collar. That is their identification, and there's just all this twisted shit in there. Honestly, it said it was a romantasy, but it's feeling like a sci-fi dystopian in some ways, which maybe it is, but I just didn't like it, and I didn't like the hero. And again, I know it's pretty early on, so that could definitely change, but it's such a long book, and I just decided to DNF it. Like, we know stuff like this happens, but I did still count it because I did read 75 pages of it, which is a good chunk of time I tried to get into it. So there you go. Was the last one that I finished this week. I told you I didn't get through too many. I'm in the middle of 4 books because I'm like almost feeling slumpy. But the last one that I finished was When We Burn by Kristen Proby. This one is out the 20th. There are 4 books coming out on the 20th and 1 on the 19th. And I'm doing pretty good. I only have 1 more left to get to. And that's the Samantha Young, and then I'm like caught up with those ones. But When We Burn will be the first book in the Blackburn. Is it Blackburn or Blackwell? I think it's Blackburn series. And this is a spin-off from The Wilds, which all of these books are connected in the greater Kristen Proby universe, right? So this one, though, was set up very nicely in the last book of the previous series, which is She's a Wild One, where our hero in that one is the oldest brother to these 3 younger sisters. There's 3 or 4. I don't remember now. It might be 4. It might be 4. Who had an extremely abusive father. And in that last book of the Wild series, Wilds of Montana, we know that father was dead. And our hero was finally able to marry the woman he loved, who was from a rival family. So that family has the Blackburns, who are all very close with them, and that is actually where the kids would go when the father was being too abusive. And each of them has a lot of trauma from this man. Yeah, we won't get into all that in this part, but our heroine, her name is Dani, and she's only like 3 years younger than Bridger. And Bridger is a single dad and the firefighter chief. And Danny actually moves into a rental that's across from him. And so Bridger, he's been into Danny for a while. And again, that's what was like set up in the previous book, where he made his interest known, basically. And yeah, he has a little girl who her mother is an absolute loser who's not around anymore. And Danny is now his little girl's kindergarten teacher. And what I loved about this one is this is a friends to lovers. And this one doesn't have a third act breakup. There is a suspense element going on. There is a arsonist in the town that is starting a bunch of fires, which is causing a lot of stress and anxiety for Bridger and his team of firefighters. And at the same time, though, he's making it known to Danny that he's not interested in just being friends anymore. And Danny can't understand why he would be interested in her. And she also tries to say, like, you know, I'm your child's teacher, like, we can't do this. And his excuses are like, number one, you won't be her teacher forever, and number two, this is a small town, people date, like, it's all right. Do you think we're going to ruin everything? And, you know, for her, she just can't understand why he's into her, but also, like, everybody knows that he's into her. So it's one of those two. We have a curvy MC, plus size MC, and there's a lot of him like proving how attracted he is to her. Lots of good smutty scenes in here. Kristen Proby does a great job with that, we know. But it also is just very loving. And yeah, if you don't want a ton of angst between the characters, this is one. There's outside suspense, as I said. And it was just really great. I loved it. This one was 5 stars. This was dual narration between Aaron Mallon and Sean Masters. Great pairing. Sean Masters should be every cowboy / rugged man there ever is. I say that. Between Connor Craze and Sean Masters, they should always do that. Okay, they absolutely should. I love their voices so much. It was excellent. So yeah, gave this one 5 stars. 3 on the spice scale. There's a little bit of praise kink in this one for sure. Very sexy, love it. And yeah, I love his little girl. She is so cute. So those are all of the books that I read this week. There should be a good amount next week, mostly because I'm in like the middle of so many. I had fun stuff going on this week with my friends. And next week I have a cooking class I'm doing with one of my friends, and I'm actually staying at another friend's husband is going to be gone, so I'll be staying at her house. But during the day, I'm still going to be coming home and doing stuff, so hopefully I don't get too behind on things, but we'll see. So anyway, like I said, I'm going to do a quick little unboxing here, because just before I filmed, the mailman came, and I was like, you know what, before I open this package, let me just start filming, and we'll open it together, because I never get to do that. So we'll do that. Let me back this up a little bit. So I was sent Cherry Auction by Stacia Black, and it was really cool because I actually am signed up for the ALC of this, which I haven't got yet, but I signed up for the ALC, and at the same time I received an email from Stacia asking if I would like to receive an influencer box for this. And I laughed and I was like, that's great. I'm signed up for the ALC, so I would love to get it. I don't believe I've read a Stacia Black before, but I've seen her stuff around. So let's just do a quick unboxing for her. This book is already out, by the way. I just haven't read it yet because I'm waiting on the audio. But yeah, she sent me this. So we're going to go through it. But let's first look at the logo there. That's crazy. Wow. Okay. Let's see what we got in here. Ooh. We got a soft touch bookmark. You guys know how much I love those. That it says Cherry Auction, and then it says, "You've signed your life away to me," beautiful, with some cherries. We got a little card here that says it's hate to love, amnesia, BDSM, it's always been you, and second chance. So it says here, "My dearest reader, I'm so excited to share this special edition of this especially messed up book with you. As I was writing it, I kept bouncing up and down telling everyone I got my mojo back. By which I mean my dark little twisted heart was finally fully engaged in a world of my characters, twisting and angsting away with them on the page in a way I've been missing for a minute as I went through a little writerly desert while I got shit together. I never realized that writing was my therapy until I went to, therapy. That was when I learned crazy isn't a bad word, and it's all right if I'm a little nuts. Diagnosis and all." Sometimes I think a little insanity is the only sane response to a messed up world we live in, and this series definitely reflects that philosophy. But I still believe in happy endings. Sometimes we have to fight a little harder to get them, but it's always worth it. As I say goodbye for now, I'll leave you with the wisdom that keeps popping up in most of the reviews for this. Make sure you read the trigger warnings. So let's see what we got. Ooh. We got a coaster, squishy coaster of the book as well. Ooh, there is a pen that, whoa, what is that? Oh my gosh, that's funny. It has like hands being, that's kind of cute. Oh my gosh, I've always wanted one of these. I've just never bit the bullet to buy one. This is a little, like, you can use it as a Kindle or a phone charm. Literally, I'm gonna grab my cat in my Etsy cart so many times, and then I'm like, you don't need to buy this. So it goes in like a USB port, so you can put it in your Kindle and it hangs there. That is so cute. I've literally always wanted one of those. I love that. Okay, sorry, distracted. Okay, we have a signed book plate that I'll put in. Oh my word, I'm so excited. Okay, so we have some stickers. It says, oh, fuck sanity. All right. It says, good kitty. We like this. It says, this is how it always would have been between us, Mads. You and me giving into our darkness together. Okay. Oh my goodness. And then very heavy book here. It says, warning, contains not safe for work illustrations. Dang. A little banged up, but that's all right. I just remembered I have read one Stacia Black ages ago. Whoa. Look at the naked even. Wow. Oh, it has the vellum like in it already. All right, I won't show you one of the spicy ones. Cute. There's like pictures. Wow. This is really well thought out. I love this. Yeah, the vellum is already like stuck in here and everything. Okay, this one isn't. He has like scars on his back and everything. Wow. This is so cool. Thank you so much, Stacia, for sending this. So yeah, I will be waiting until my audio shows up to read this, but it's supposed to come this week. But yeah, this is the special edition of this. I'm so excited. I love kinky stories, so this is going to be fun. But, oh yeah, and the heart's there. So, anyway, a little bit of a shorter video this week, as I know, but I still feel like I talked a lot about the books I read, which is great. But thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye.